Hello, welcome to this session, Sneaky Defense Evasion, Windows 10 Security Bypass. My name is Sergey and I will be presenter on this session. Let me say a few words about me first. I work in security domain for a long time. I do a lot of penetration tests. Also, I deliver security sessions, so I work as an instructor as well. And teach Microsoft and not only Microsoft security services. I speak on the conferences. Also, I have different certifications and awards like MVP. That's why I'm here. And I also am OSCP, OSAP, EC Council certified, and so on. If you want to contact me, go ahead, do that. You may do it via LinkedIn. So here's the URL. And if you want to say something or ask something, you know how to do it. Let's take a look on our agenda. On this session, I will walk you through 4 stages, where the stages of compromise, and on each stage, I want to show you how the built-in security may be bypassed. First, we'll prepare our payload. In my payload, that will be reverse shell. I will show you different ways how can we evade Defender antivirus. Then we will download this payload to a victim machine, and to download that feature called attack surface reduction rules will stop me to do it, and I'm gonna show you how we can bypass that. Next, I will execute the payload, and Applocker will not allow me to do it. So we must see how Applocker may be bypassed. And finally, after all of the code execution, I want to cover my tracks, and so I will run ransomware on a target machine. But the machine will be protected by control folder access, which should stop my ransomware. That's our agenda. And the last thing that I want you to keep in mind, I'm a big fan of live demos. So I will show you some slides, but the most important and informative will be on live demos. All right, so let's take a look on the first stage, which is preparing the payload, and Microsoft Defender AV Evasion. If you want to bypass evade antivirus, first of all, some general thoughts. Forget about public obfuscators. What do I mean by public obfuscators? Veil evasion, fat rat, backdoor factory. Even Metasploit has its own obfuscator evasion module. So if you know them, believe me, Microsoft and other antivirus vendors, they know them either, and they know them very, very well. So they know how to block it. They know how to block the decryption routine, so forget about those obfuscators. That will not work, not at all. Try to use, if your goal is to evade antivirus, try to use custom tools. Or if you're a defender, of course, then keep in mind that custom tools may be used by attackers. Custom tools they show the best result in antivirus evasion. And also, what is important if you are on that pen test side or red team, don't share your code. Try to not to share your code, because if people reuse this code, it will be blocked soon. So if you want this code to live longer, don't share it. And the last one, keep usage of public tools to a minimum, because even if you need to use those more advanced tools like Metasploit payload, try to minimize the usage of those tools. All right, so let me jump to demo and show you a few ways how can we evade antivirus. First of all, I'm going to show you the workstation. By the way, each step I will show you on the separate workstation, because I don't want to mix different protection technologies. I just want to show you to them isolated. All right, so the first workstation has real-time protection turned on, cloud delivered protection turned on. I only disable automatic sample submission, so I don't want this workstation to share the findings with Microsoft. So in this case, maybe the payloads will live longer. And also, if we look at the exclusions, there are no exclusions here. So that's the first workstation, which is pretty standard. So let's first try to use Metasploit. For these purposes, I'm gonna generate this, and so I'm going to generate the payload from Metasploit payload, and I call that MVPDays. So let me find it here. Yep, it's here. And if I copy it to workstation, look at this, flagged, antivirus flags immediately, and that should be removed really quickly. Even if I used evasion module, the evasion module of Metasploit, will be the same result. Any antivirus knows how to block that, or at least most of the antiviruses know that. All right, let's try something else. Let's take Netcat, which is the very well-known tool to establish reverse shell. It's one of the features of this tool. Let's copy it, paste here, and flags again. And finally, let me show you my custom tool that's already there, called My Custom. Let me just double click on that. It wasn't the goal to make it hidden, but let's see the result. Look here, I have a shell. If I type who am I, I'm a user. Let's type dir, so I can see that folder structure. It's working. So custom always better. Of course, I will not share my code here, but just keep in mind, try to create your own payloads if you can. But since the goal here is to tell you how can we obfuscate, then let me give you a couple of ideas how can you obfuscate public payloads, public executables. So first, let's start with Netcat because it will be pretty simple. So detection may be based on signatures, and by the way, many payloads may be blocked only on signatures. Based on the detection will be based on signatures. Netcat is not exclusion here, and when it comes to signatures, there are two types of signatures that may be found by antivirus. First of all, it may be found the hash of the file. In this case, it's very super straightforward. We just need to modify the hash. Any symbol of this, any single byte of this payload may be modified, and it will be new hash. Or what is pretty often that you may find, it may block static strings. For example, if I find here something like all -a records and IY and so on, so those strings also may be blocked. So here Netcat is just blocked based on hash, and I want to modify the hash. Let me just modify any one symbol that should not break the program. Let's say I want to let me change this to capital L, and let's save that as nc-mvpdays. Copy this, paste here. No flags. All right, that's better. Let's try to run that. So I have a listener on port 555, and that's someone, I don't know who's that. Let's try to run this one, and Netcat MVPDays, and I want to connect to my server using port 5555, and I want to execute CMD. Yep, that's working. And now I have the shell. So Netcat now is working. That was this very simple obfuscation. what if you want to obfuscate Metasploit payload? Is it possible? Yeah, will be tricky, but that's going to be possible. Let me show you how we can do it. First of all, I want to generate shellcode in a C# format. C#. I don't want to have executable. I want to have a C# shellcode. All right, so now I have a shellcode. So step number next, I must encrypt shellcode because Metasploit payload will be detected using signature-based detection, so static analysis, and heuristic. So first, if I want to bypass signature, I need to encrypt the code. If you can see, this code is slightly different. Let me just copy this and show you real quick. So if we compare what I have here and here, it's not the same. So we must take the shellcode, encrypt that, and decrypt using our custom routine. So like this, and so that will allow me to evade static analysis. But that's only half of our work because we need to also mess up our behavior. And for this purpose, I will use sleep timer, and so we'll add a sleep to this program as well. Now, if I build that, hopefully it will work. Let's see. So first, let me clear that and run Metasploit listener. And copy my shellcode runner, paste here, no flags, run that. Yep, that's working. So I can run some commands, let's say ps, works fine, dr, yep, that's working. Some commands, keep in mind, may be detected. If I say I want to run shell, boom, that shell died. So keep in mind, your custom is always better, because even if you obfuscate some public tools, they may be detected in some context. So keep in mind the minimal functionality, functionality, and custom is always better. All right, so that we evade antivirus. We have our custom payload. We have also netcat that can bypass antivirus, and we have Metasploit, which mostly useful, may be used in many contexts. So now let's jump to the next slide, and now we need to deliver this payload to user. One of the most common ways to deliver payload is to somehow trick user to open file, click on the link, download, run something, and very famous method is to wrap your payload into Word or Excel document. So we'll use that, but a workstation will be protected not only by antivirus but also by another feature called attack surface reduction. What is that? Attack surface reduction. That's a number of rules, and those rules may block something specific. For example, when we try to download something or execute, that may be blocked. There's a set of rules. You may find it in Intune and Config Manager. Also, on the Microsoft website, there's a list of GUIDs that may be enabled through group policies. I will use only one rule for the purpose of demo. So I will use the rule block all Office applications from creating child process. And so let's try to bypass that. How can we bypass that? We can dechain Office application and our payload. So our payload will not be a child process. It will create a new. So Office must create a new process that will not be child. Let's take a look first how child and parent look like, and then we will try to run my payload. So first of all, how can I enable this? I can enable that many ways to do it. I will use the quickest way for demo purposes, group policies. In the case of group policies, I must add GUID of this rule, and I made one, which means enable. Keep in mind, in the real world, if you use Intune or Config Manager, you will have the normal name, not GUID. So I'm using this GUID because I want to have this rule start to work as soon as possible, so I can turn it off, turn it on for the demo purposes. Let me turn that off first, and let me show you what will happen if I run my document. So if I run my child document, click enable content, and now I can see that CMD popped up. If I look at my code, this code is very, very simple. So it will run CMD with this command call shell, and it will, when I say enable macro, it will auto open this. So let's try again. This time I will first run Process Explorer. And so you can see here, not see it at this moment. Let me run this one. Go back to Process Explorer. Now I can see WinWord. So let's enable content. CMD appeared. And in Process Explorer, I can see that CMD is the child process, CMD child process for WinWord. All right, now let's enable enable our rule. Close this, and turn my rule on. Okay, apply. So let's try again. Open this, run that, and look at this. Now it says action was blocked. You cannot run that. So now we cannot create a child process from Office. Let's see how can we fix that. Let me open an article on the website iread.team, and there's an article that says that show you different ways to spawn the parent process instead of child. And so you may follow this article and try everything yourself. Keep in mind, Defender antivirus knows also those techniques and will try to block it. Let me show you this. So if I try to run parent now, enable content, look at this. So it wasn't blocked by attack surface reduction rules, but Defender blocked that when I tried to use, oh damn it, sorry. When I tried to use one of those methods, when I tried to run CMD using this method. So generally speaking, we bypass attack surface reduction rules, but Defender antivirus blocked me. But that's and yeah, that's only half of work. And also you must find a way to evade antivirus. I will not show you how I did that again, but let me show you that I can establish the shell. Let me run parent shell, enable content. So it runs PowerShell, and now I have code execution again. Yeah, this shell is not super nice, but that's a minimalistic shell. But at least I have something, and I can execute commands. So now we bypassed attack surface reduction rules when we dechain Office application and payload. Now we need to execute the payload. For this purposes, we just need to deliver. So we download the payload, and we need to execute that. But workstation is protected by Applocker. Oh damn it! I cannot just simply run that. We need to find out how to execute Applocker, how to execute my payload. Even workstation is protected by Applocker. So there are three primary methods you may try. First one, get admin rights somehow, and in this case, of course, admins, they may just bypass Applocker easily. Of course, some rules may stop me from using from some of the application, but normally administrators they are not restricted. Next one, which I'm going to use, writable folders and files. This is folders and files. That's when we have writable folders in trusted locations or writable files in trusted locations. If we find writable folder, that's super straightforward. We can just put our executable there and run from there. It should work. If we found writable files, that will be slightly more complicated. In this case, you need to use what's called alternative data streams, or ADS, and so add your payload to the file which is writable and run your payload as ADS. So slightly more complicated, but also possible. And finally, living off the land binaries. Living off the land binaries, that's the built-in binaries which are trusted by Applocker, and some of them will allow you to run the code on their behalf. All right, let's take a look on last two methods: writable folders and living off the land binaries. I'm gonna jump to another workstation called Applocker, and here I have Applocker configured, and I have, generally speaking, default rules, which is program files are whitelisted, Windows whitelisted, all files for administrator allowed, and also I add one more rule, which is very, very popular, to allow run all the code signed by Microsoft certificate. So all Microsoft software may run without any restrictions. And I'm here, a regular user. Let me try to run CMD as administrator. No, I cannot, so I'm a regular user. I copied here my shell. Let me check, I have the listener. No, I cannot execute that. Applocker. Before we start to execute, before I show you execution, I must find, so if I want to use writable folders, I must find them. And for this purpose, I'm going to use tool signed by Microsoft, this tool from Microsoft and signed by Microsoft, called Access Check. Access Check. Access Check. So with Access Check, I'm going to find all writable folders under Windows for user Jada, who's the regular user. And look at this. Just by default, we have a number of writable folders. One of those C task, just the first one, and it says read write. And probably if I execute from this folder, I will be fine. So let me copy this name, and let's say I want to copy my py.exe to C Windows task. All right, that was copied. Now let's go there. Oh, let's just run from there. Let's just type py, check that I have my listener, and just run that. Yep, that's working. That's working. And if I look, where am I? As usual, dr. Oh, sorry, dr. That's working. All right. So you must explicitly check what folders are available for regular user and block those users as well. And the last one, living off the land binaries. So let's say that some administrators, they block something for everyone, for every location. So even trusted locations may not allow me to use some applications. What if I really want to use PowerShell, but PowerShell is blocked? In this case, living off the land may help run applications I want. Let me close all of this and create a new rule. And this rule will deny PowerShell for everyone. Let's find that. Sim32, Windows PowerShell, and here. So let me leave the bar and click create. Now PowerShell should be denied for everyone, including administrator, by the way. And yeah, that's denied. I can't run PowerShell at all. So now let's say I want to execute PowerShell commandlet. How can I do it? I will use one living of the line binary called install util. But first, and so what this util is all about? This util to install and uninstall. And what is interesting about this util may trigger installation and installation for some external binaries, and uninstall routine doesn't require from me to have admin rights. So I can run that without admin rights, and I can trigger my code, my executable, using install util. But first, I must create a specially crafted executable. Now I have, that's the code that's supported by install util. And here I can say, what do I want to run? And this output, this executable, the execution will not be interactive. So if I want to see the result, I must output the text file. And so let me just run simple thing like a get service. And of course, get service is a PowerShell commandlet and it should not be available because PowerShell is blocked. And also I want to check what is the PowerShell language mode, because with Applocker, what you may do, you may enable constraint mode. And so with this, using this tool, it will always be full mode. I can build it, but I guess yeah, I already built that. So let me copy this. I already built that, and let me copy this to here. Let's copy here. Of course, I can copy that to task and run, but it will not work. It will not give me anything useful because this is especially crafted for install util. Let me open CMD and run this one. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. All right, let's go to C tools. Let's try again. Yeah, it happened, to be fair. Just add output to the wrong folder. So now I didn't see it worked, but I just did. It appeared in a different folder. Looks like it's in a user profile folder. Yeah, that added to user folder. All right, let's go back to tools, and we can see here. Yep, that's working. That's working, and we have full language mode. So now we bypassed Applocker, and we can execute our payloads. And before I finish, I want to cover my tracks. So I don't want to destroy evidences. I want to encrypt the workstation with ransomware, and so everything will be encrypted there, including log files and documents. And the security team will have problems with decryption, so they will not have time to follow me, to chase me. So covering the track, I will use ransomware for these purposes. But workstation and some folders of this, in my case, some folders of workstation, will be protected by a feature called control folder access, which will block unauthorized access to documents. If the application that's trying to modify the file is not trusted. So how can we bypass control folder access? There are two primary ways. Method number one. If we have admin rights, we can whitelist our application manually, of course. But if we don't have admin rights, what we can do, we can run code on behalf of allowed application. So first one is obvious. I don't want to show that. Let's take a look on the second one. I'm gonna jump back to the last workstation. And here, what I want to do, let me copy some files on Word files here. Yep. And what I want to do, I want to run my ransomware. And let's see if I can encrypt them. Just 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Looks like it's already encrypted. Yeah, that's protected already. Let me disable protection for the moment. I will show you the result. Yeah, I will disable this. I want to encrypt in C docs, and the password will be 1, 2, 3. And let's take a look. Yeah. Everything is encrypted. Now let me just decrypt that real quick. Now it should be fine. All right. So as you saw before, if I have control folder access turned on, I will have folders that are protected, and one of those folders I've chosen manually to protect C docs. Also, there's a user profile. Some companies prefer to protect even the whole C drive and then add a bunch of exclusions when they really want to be protected from ransomware. So let me try to run my ransomware again. You already saw the result, but let's try again. So let's say encrypt C docs and 1, 2, 3. Nope, it doesn't work, and files are still unencrypted. Now, how can I encrypt those files? There are some applications that are trusted just by default. For example, Word. This application is just trusted. And what I can do, I can execute my code on behalf of Word application. And for these purposes, first of all, I want to establish Metasploit shell again. Yep. You remember, if I type shell, I will be detected. So I don't want to do it. So what I want to do, if I want to execute code on behalf of Word, I want to migrate to that process. So let me find WinWord process. Where is that? Oh, here you go. 9348. I'm gonna copy this and type migrate 9348. And now my code is injected into Word process. So next step I want to take, I want to load Python. All right, and the last thing, let's see here. I want to run my Python script that will encrypt those documents, and fingers crossed. Yep, they're encrypted. Yay, they're encrypted. And so on behalf of Metasploit, on behalf of Word, I can do it. All right. Now let's jump back to my slide. So we bypass different Microsoft built-in technologies. What if we have all of them together everything is, so we have Applocker, we have attack surface reduction rules enabled, of course antivirus and control folder access. Is it possible to bypass? Yes, but much harder, because the weaknesses of one technology will be compensated by another technology. So when we have them all together, that will be very hard to do, especially when attack is automated and attacker cannot have time to just experiment and check what is around. And also, by the way, even if it's not automated, attacker will be detected by security team, and so the attack will be finished on that. So I hope that was informative for you and you learn a bunch of new things. Of course, there was not a goal to teach you hacking or whatever it may be. The goal is to, if you want to run pen test, give you some ideas. How can you protect? So how can you check your environment? And also, but the primary goal is to show you like the possible vulnerable deployments. So it's not about vulnerabilities in the technology. That's about how you configure that. If you just deploy Applocker using built-in rules and nothing else, then there is a number of ways how those rules may be bypassed. So I hope that will help you to protect your company even better. All right, thank you very much for your participation. If you wanna find me once again, here's the URL. Feel free to ask any questions. Bye bye.